Hi, Jason. How are you now? It's Camila. I got a message from your good buddies at No Time for a Podcast. Good guys, good guys, great guys. And obviously, they have no time for a podcast, but they have a little bit of fucking time for you.
They cut the hard line. There's no time. You're going to have to get to another exit.
See a set of keys around here.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
No time for
podcast.
No, I can't be bothered with that. I have no time for that sort of nonsense.
So anybody got any things they want to talk about before we get started?
Any arrogant grievances?
Aside from the barbecue in Kansas City, nice town. We've all been there together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Adorned is not a surprise. It's not an understatement. TV is on where you wouldn't expect TVs to be on when there's actually generally football on. Really, they just want to have football on at all times. You know, that's the warm up for the Chiefs game, which is always going to be at 3:25, right? They're the perpetual 3:25 team if they're not playing a Monday night or a Sunday night game. So, football town, and you know, I would be equally as loud and proud as that city is if I won 3 out of the last 4 Super Bowls. It's pretty amazing.
Yep, probably. I'd be more obnoxious, I should say.
Sorry, I think it's three out of 5.
Yeah,
I think it's
still.
But they have a chance. They have a chance for a three-peat, though. Yeah. So it's 2018, and then the last 2. That's right. They took 2 years.
The 19 season was their first one.
Yeah, it was 18 regular season, February of 2019.
Was it?
Yeah, it was his Holmes' first year as a starter, I think. No, second year. You're right. So it's the 2019 season, 2020, because it was COVID. It's like right
just before.
Yeah, that's right. And made some money on some cards.
The day that
during that run.
It was the day that Kobe died, right?
That's January. He did in January, didn't he?
I thought it was on Super Bowl Sunday.
It was January or February, but it wasn't on Super Bowl Sunday, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know we were going to, I think, the game of Axles, and I don't think we'd go to a game on Super Bowl Sunday. Sorry, buddy. We're staying home for that one.
This question goes out to anybody. So if your team wins 3 Super Bowls in a row, are you willing to do the tomahawk chop?
I'm going to do a lot of things.
That's nice. Is your iron?
I'll take clothes off before they do the tomahawk chop.
Well, you do that anyways. That's nothing to do.
Where's the pressure for their name change, or at least eliminating the tomahawk chop now that they're on TV every weekend? Kind of gets glossed over now. Now that Washington changed their name, I guess everyone's moved on.
And the Indians
and Atlanta, the Braves.
Yeah,
those two, I would suspect they're next.
Doesn't seem to be a lot of pressure for them though.
Not at the moment.
I mean, Mahomes has got all the pressure he needs dealing with his wife and his brother and his dad, so he could snap at any minute. Poor guy.
Maybe they'll just change it to the Mahomes. If you win your 3rd Super Bowl in a row, you get the name of the team.
Seriously, that guy, the way he'll be honored for the rest of, for eternity in that sound is just going to be phenomenal. He's just going to own that place. It's Jordan in Chicago, right? Like just the admiration.
What's awesome, it's incredible. I think what's hilarious is he's still doing like Herb's Pool and Spa commercials.
Is he really?
Going at TV on. It was pretty awesome. He's doing these kind of like, no offense to Johnny Munt, but I would think Johnny Munt would be doing some of those commercials, right?
Will Reichard.
Patrick's still obligating the 8-year contract he must have signed with Herb's Pool and Spa.
At least Reichard can get Walmart. So.
Yeah, he got a Crocs deal. Did you see that?
And Crocs, yeah. He's pulling some big name people out.
That was a heck of a Vikings of the Year pick so far.
Was that who I picked?
Yep.
I think it was. Wow.
Well,
I didn't pick Darnold, that's for sure.
No, I did not either. And I did not pick the Green Bay kicker to miss 2 kicks last week.
Well, it's about time it was somebody else's kicker.
Exactly. Somebody else.
Something that happened to them and not us.
Excellent. So we can talk about what is everybody drinking here tonight? What do you got? Peter?
The usual. I got a case I'm going through slowly.
You got to say the name so you can get the sponsorship deal.
This is Spotted Cow by New Glarus.
12-ouncer bottle.
Bottle out of New Glarus, Wisconsin. They don't sell in Minnesota. Maybe that'll change someday.
Just north of Madison, I found out apparently.
I've never been. But
They're not open.
on
The weekends for tours. You gotta go during the week.
Jesus, come on, guys. We don't sell in Minnesota. We aren't open on weekends, so Minnesotans can actually go and visit there.
Conspiracy.
You really want us out of there.
No.
Statist.
No purple allowed.
No purple allowed.
What are you drinking, Schwartz?
I also have a Minnesota restricted beer.
Oh.
Pride of Pottsville, PA, a Yingling. I jammed the rest of my 12-pack into my suitcase coming back from Kansas City because somehow Kansas City lies to the south and west of us and the west side of the Mississippi, but manages to have Yingling. So Missouri / Kansas must be within the jurisdiction for Yingling, but they just can't make it up to Minnesota for whatever reason. It's irritating. I know it's in Chicago. It's not in Wisconsin, but yeah.
We're even flyover country for beer. Like, it sucks.
I mean, they got a million Boulevard varieties that you can get while you're in KC, but I found Yingling, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to buy some Yingling while I'm there.
Now, this is awkward because I thought Yingling was Chinese beer.
It's not the first time I've heard that.
It's Amish.
How about you, Edgar? What are you drinking?
Oh, I have I don't even know the brand. It's a grape THC soda. You can read it. I read it in backwards on my screen at least.
Like Chief Keef? Is that a thing?
Like Keith Richards?
Keef.
I'd never heard of it either. I guess they're from Minneapolis and they've been around for a while, but this is my first experience with them. It tastes like a grape soda. Tastes like grape soda and it smells like bong water, so it does the job.
Like a grape ape. Grape apes are very sweet. It's not Queef, by the way. It's Keef.
I thought it was Keef.
Yeah.
Named after the guy who shot Tupac. There's a deep cut.
Is that true though? Is that proven?
More or less.
Is there any?
He won't get charged or convicted, but the cops know who did it.
Is there any chance it may have been Diddy?
I think that guy was busy doing other things.
Yeah, I was wondering if that's going to come up in his trial because I think there's still the rumor that he paid the guy off after he kind of put a public bounty on Tupac, and then he actually did pay the person off after the fact. That's the rumor, at least. I guess we'll find out. I haven't been following all of his charges. It sounds like some pretty messed up stuff, but it'll be interesting to see what comes out. I saw one headline like 2 days ago. I wanted to share this. It was like Reginald Vell Johnson denies rumors that he had sex with Diddy. I'm like, what? That's a headline I never could have possibly imagined.
What? Nobody was
that a real rumor?
No one was even asking.
No, nobody was thinking of asking that one.
I think well, that's what I'm wondering. Is that in the Diddy charges? Is that an actual rumor that's out there somewhere that him and Reginald Vell Johnson hooked up?
He's just trying to stay relevant. I could say I also did not have sex with Diddy. I was like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? Let's get his name out there.
You heard it here first. Peter did not have sex.
Breaking news: I did not have sex with Diddy.
Wow.
Well, I can honestly say I've never had sex with Reginald Vell Johnson.
I never had sex with Sean Puffy Combs.
I won't say anything about Reginald Vell Johnson.
Schwartz is being very silent.
Right. I didn't want to.
Well, I'm so mystified as how did the baby oil get thrown into the whole thing? Like every single GIF or meme that's out there involves baby oil with Puffy. So
wasn't the rumor of how much they found?
Yeah, it was just gallons and gallons and gallons.
Yeah. Hundreds of bottles.
Okay. I didn't bother to do the research. I just
a global shortage.
Created a shortage.
He thought it was all hand sanitizer.
Oh no!
It just got real slippery.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's enough Diddy talk for me.
That was not on the agenda.
It was not on the agenda, and I was okay with that.
But it is a topic that comes up quite often.
Yeah, I'm okay with that guy. Just never sees the light of day. Let's be very clear. I'm not pro Diddy in this scenario.
I'm not pro. You're gonna take a stand here?
I'll take the stand of just burn him at the stake if you want. I don't really care.
Nice.
But if charges come to Mace, how will you feel?
Wait, is his name been thrown around?
I'm just saying if.
Damn. Maybe that's why he left early, right? Because he quit at the top.
He also found religion, and I think he's been a pastor for the last.
I think
20
Diddy.
years.
I think he found religion because of Diddy, probably. In retrospect, right? He's like, well, that's unholy. I'm getting out of here. I need Jesus.
You see all that goddamn baby oil?
I'm leaving the fishbowl.
Yeah, I need Jesus. I'll see you later.
Yikes. Yikes. All right.
So are we doing Vikings first or Wolves first?
Yeah, it's pretty big last couple weeks for
Yeah.
Minnesota sports fans.
I also had on there if Schwartz wanted to talk about his Olympic trip a little bit, maybe. 'Cause we never actually got it on the last time.
Oh,
If you want to give us a little 2 to 3 minute morsel, Schwartz.
So, the Olympiad, the Paris Olympiad, it was pretty amazing. I will say, in the sense that it felt like there weren't like the town was really quiet and really, really strange, like how quiet it was in certain corners that we went into. I will say this: they were extremely organized. It was extremely clean, and I think it probably was just like they just kind of sanitized the city, so to speak, a little too much. And it felt like it was not as crowded and packed as I would have thought it would have been. But that was our time in Paris, and we were there on the backside of the like a lot of the events. Our events were in Marseille, they were in Lyon, so they were in cities we're talking like 4 hours away from Paris, quite a ways away. And again, like every time we went to an event, super organized, everything was kind of like lickety, just beautifully clean, which was amazing within itself. So again, how much damage control are they doing? And, the money that they throw at the city to make it look perfect. It was really tough to tell. But nonetheless, I did not run into Snoop Dogg.
No,
that was my main disappointment.
You weren't at the equestrian events.
No water polo events. I heard he loved water polo. So I guess that's my fault. I didn't make it to that, but I would give it exceeded our expectations. I will say that. I would say that again, it wasn't a complete ripoff when you went to a restaurant or went out for a beer or anything like that. I thought everything was very, very reasonable, very reasonably priced, but we were also staying quite a distance away from a lot of the stuff when we were in Paris, et cetera, et cetera. So,
and that they use different money over there, right?
They actually use different money, but being a traveler,
I mean,
now,
that might have. I mean, if they said, "Oh, it's only €10," you might have think, "Wow, $10, this is really cheap." Just throwing that out there.
Although I was not in charge of the bank statement when I got back, so anything could have happened there.
Yeah. Did you pick up a second job, or the wife pick up a second job?
Dipped into some fun funds. Let's just call it that.
George is back to begging groceries again.
Whatever you got to do, right?
Yeah.
Anything for me to be able to drive the 9-passenger Euro church van with a stick, which is a manual, sitting at 45-degree angle intersections in cities that were created well before cars. That I would say was the biggest challenge overall. So
that sounds awful.
Know the height of your vehicle. Because you're not parking on the street for more than 12 hours. They've got it figured out how to corner you on that shit. People are watching always. No rigging the meters and plugging them and stuff like that. So what do? You got to find parking ramps. When you find parking ramps, just know the height of your vehicle. That's all I'll say.
Nice.
Yeah. Olympics, I'd do it again. Paris was pretty awesome.
Does this mean you're down for when the World Cup is here in 2026?
Ooh. Have they named the
Where
cities
is
yet?
where is the nearest one? Like Chicago, probably.
I think Chicago might
Kansas
be.
City. I think they got it.
Kansas City, yeah.
Too, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, World Cup host cities.
It's basically the only places that have Yingling. That's it.
Right, yeah. It's the Yingling only.
Guadalajara.
Ooh,
yeah.
We've been there.
Chicago did not make it. Kansas City is the one. So looks like I'll be going to Kansas City in 2026. Although Vancouver would be pretty sweet.
Town is awesome.
Atlanta, Houston, pass. Philly, I don't know if I'm up for that emotionally, physically.
You could take a dump in the station inside the stadium there. I mean, probably a corner.
So Olympics probably still depends where it's at. If you want to go, I'm sure some place could do it wrong. I do hate that if it's ever, next time it's here, it's going to be so spread out, right? The activities and everything. I hate that the World Cup is all the way across the U.S. and Mexico. I hate that. I hate how wide that is. I think that's stupid. They can literally hold it in Germany. They can hold it, which is the size of Minnesota and part of Wisconsin. But no, we have to spread it across thousands and thousands of miles. And
You got to build 11 fucking stadiums. soccer stadium that hold 20,000 people. We're going to do that in one state. That seems insane.
No, I know. It's just we have football stadiums. I suppose even football, right? There you go. We're all over the place. Yeah, they can't even figure out like Midwest, whatever.
No.
It's just for the people that. I mean, I guess it helps to try to get somewhere if you have options, but it's still stupid.
Were we in the running?
For what?
Were we in the running as a host city?
For what? Sorry.
For World Cup.
Yeah, we are hosting. Oh no, were we in the running? I think we were. I think we are hosting. I think the Club World Cup.
Yeah, something like that.
So that's 2025. Pretty sure
U.S. Bank.
the U.S. Bank is. Sorry, checking. I thought we were.
I'm just thinking because of our facility alone that we would be very clear that we'd be in the running. I mean, it's a beautiful stadium, right?
Well, we got a goddamn giant loon now, metallic loon. That's 3 stories. It's a sight to behold.
Yeah, I'll be seeing that in the next 2 weeks.
Just sitting in an empty parking lot on University there.
We did not get Club World Cup. I thought we did. We got something.
It sounds like we got screwed.
Sounds like we did get screwed.
Are you going to get a Loon's license plate? Anybody going to get one?
No, I didn't realize they were coming out. I tried to buy some Loons. They have a new partnership or thing that collaborate with Adidas where they made a special shoe. And so like the eyelets on the tennis shoes are red with like the blue. Most of the shoes the blue. It was like pretty cool actually.
Yeah,
But,
that's cool.
they were sold out of like every size and secondary market. It's pretty crazy, especially.
Did you ever see the First Ave Converse All Star or Converse One Stars
Oh yeah, from a way back.
anniversary? Yeah, whenever their last anniversary was. Those are pretty cool looking too.
But those are knee destroyers.
Yep. For anybody over 200 bills,
Yeah, they're just my wife's buying them. I'm like, nope, not with these knees. I like
you
to
can, buy
be-
different, you can buy different insoles, Peter. Game changer.
I don't know if that helps.
You get your Dr. Scholl's.
Plus,
The dog's barking.
I go Adidas heavy.
So yeah, which one do we want to do? Do we want to do the cat trade or do we want to do the
Let's do cat trade.
cat first? All right, take it away, basketball guys.
Can we just get thumbs in the air? Yay, nay, or mixed? Mixed.
For now.
I'm gonna say
Are
long.
we talking about the trade or what are we talking?
Gut check on the trade. Yay, nay, or so-so.
I like it.
So-so. Edgar likes Schwartz.
There's things I like. There's things
50.
I like, and there's things that are sad.
I think I like it more after this next season.
You don't like it for this season?
I think it's, I don't know. We were a pretty deep team and we got deeper, which is great. But did we get better for this year? I don't know.
No, we don't have Kyle Anderson anymore. How can we be better?
But I totally understand with the second apron the concept that this allows us flexibility and the ability to like re-sign Nas, and we're not just locked into a couple guys. It doesn't force us to necessarily extend Rudy after this year to try to keep Nas. So I get it.
We've got Rudy for 2 more years, and we're not giving him an extension after that.
No, but that's what they're looking at. Partly to potentially keep Nas, as Rudy was the easiest one to potentially extend out because he would be able to take less. Maybe he takes 25, and then they can extend it out. So that was like on the table. I think listen to like 1 or 2 podcasts of like this is how we can keep Nas and maybe Nah. And I'm like I like Rudy. I don't like the idea of paying 36-year-old Rudy money to play for our team and to take up a good chunk of money to do it. So
He's not 38-year-old Mike.
yeah, I mean at least he's done after he has 1 more year and he's at like 10-11 million. Like his extension I think was like 2 years, 20 million. Right, pretty.
Yeah, he's got 2 more years too. Him and Rudy come off at the same time.
Yeah,
And if Randall opts in for his second year, then he'll be off at the same time too. But I don't think anyone's expecting Randall to opt in unless something really bad happens.
Yeah, because that 30 million, to take 1 year for 31 year to potentially at your age 30 year get a multi-year contract. I would agree. My gut says he's going to go multi-year, and the Timberwolves will say thank you for your time. So I hope it's kind of personally that they're going to use Randall and maybe the first as a chip towards somebody they like as a fit a little bit better. I mean, Randall's a good player, right? He's a top 50 dude, but how he fits, I don't know.
Try to make that trade the beginning of next year, is that what you're saying, or in the off season this year?
Or maybe if it's not working out before the trade deadline in February.
Gotcha.
The thing I think the biggest thing that was surprising to me is this happened 3 weeks before the season opener. And it's like, we got to now figure out how to integrate these two guys. And DiVincenzo is, I mean, phenomenal, right? From everything I've heard, his contract is great. First of all, 3 more years at like $11 million a year. Hello, I'll take that. And like shooting 40, if he can shoot 40% from 3 at high volume again and provide good defense, I'll take him. He was honestly the bigger win, I think.
Didn't the playoffs last year really give him like a tailwind? I mean,
oh my God, yeah, he was huge in the playoffs. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because of injuries, it was him and Brunson were the only ones who could score. So he was doing a lot more and putting up much bigger numbers. And they were saying he wasn't happy about coming off the bench this year. So maybe they had a reason to want to get rid of him. I don't buy that. I think they made a pretty big mistake trading him. They should have found another way to make this deal without that, with more draft picks or something.
The Wolves wouldn't have done it though. I mean, he was honestly
they probably wouldn't.
Yeah, he shot 46% from 3 in the Eastern Conference series against Indy. And overall for the playoffs, what was he? He was like 40% or better overall for the playoffs. Averaged 22 points against Indy in 7 games. Like, he was awesome. And just last year in general, like, his numbers were pretty strong. So, but it's like, we only have so many minutes.
Yeah.
Who's he taking minutes away from? Is he taking minutes away from Dillingham, who they want to ramp up to potentially be Conley's replacement?
Well, Dillingham's already the backup point guard. So what's that?
Yeah. Is it Na then? Like, I don't know.
Well, I think Na is now expendable. I mean, his offense was very inconsistent. His defense is solid, but it's not. I don't know if it's that great. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's somebody they move away.
Yeah, and part of it could be so they don't have to try to figure out how to keep Na after this year, right? They can, if they can't figure out a good deal for him, they let him walk without hurting the depth of the team the next 2-3 years.
And they could play a lot of smaller lineups too. Just play McDaniels at power forward with probably Nas at center, and then they could play DiVincenzo at 3 against smaller teams, and play him in at the same time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I think there's way more flexibility lineup wise.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask. You think that they're just generally a deeper team now, and the minus Cat skill set right now being gone overall, can all the parts replace that?
Yeah, I think they might still need another big man unless they're actually committed to playing Leonard Miller this year.
Or Garza.
Well, I mean, no, but I mean, like right now, if you assume that Nas is your backup center, then you would say Miller's got to be your backup power forward. But I think they're going to shuffle the lineup around enough that he's probably not going to get those kind of minutes. So, but then if somebody gets hurt, then that's where you're really going to be missing Kyle Anderson. You'll have Garza, sure, but I don't think they've ever played him more than 4 minutes a game, unless it's been an absolute blowout. So they could still use and Joe Ingles, who they signed. I think he's like 39 years old. I think he's just there to keep Gobert company. I don't think they intend to play him. I would be shocked if he got significant minutes.
He'll get time.
That's shocking to me. He didn't even play anywhere last year. He basically retired 2 years ago and just didn't file the paperwork.
He's going to get some time.
That's going to be scary.
Yep.
Do you think this deal gets done because they just included Dante in it at some point recently?
100%.
Yeah, I read that they were up until like last Thursday negotiating with Utah on Walker Kessler, and my assumption is, well, I know Utah expected them to take John Collins' bad contract back, and I'm sure also Danny Ainge asked for like 6 first-round picks because that's what he does. And it was like the next day after those talks broke down, they came for Cat. So I don't know, like you asked earlier, why is this being done 3 weeks before the start of the season? I don't even know if they were talking before last week. That might have just come out of the blue. Yeah. And frankly, I don't know why the Knicks didn't just spend a lot less on a guy like DeAndre Ayton, because all they really needed was rebounding and some interior defense. They could have gone that route and not broken the bank for Cat.
But they wanted to 5 out though, right? Isn't that it? They wanted to get 5 guys that can shoot from outside and can drive and literally just not have anybody down low. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
But then you could have done that with Randall. I mean, if you don't, I don't know. I think my assumption is because it's New York and because of who their owner is, he wanted to make a splash. He didn't want to spend less on a decent role-playing center. He wanted to spend big on a big-name center. And maybe it'll work out for them.
It's partially there, yeah.
And Cat's a local guy, right? Like he's from out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they also talk about spacing for Brunson, so like getting Cat out of the way and not having.
But you're sending out DiVincenzo in the process. I mean, if you're worried about
other shooting, but yeah.
And maybe because they have Mitchell Robinson, if he's ever healthy again, and the idea is, well, okay, if you're gonna have one lane clogger, that's one thing, but we can't have kind of like now it's like how do we play Randall and Gobert?
I think their GM also like our GM's a tinkerer though too. Like they're willing to trade if they can figure something out.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to him not being the whole like to the emotional part of keeping Cat, who's like the most committed Timberwolves player ever, right?
Yeah,
he asked out at some point, which I don't blame him. But
did you feel weirder when Cat got traded or when KG got traded?
KG, I was almost hoping for him he would get traded because the team was so poorly run. Honestly, like I felt bad for him. They were so mired in the shit, and they were such a poorly run team, especially with the Joe Smith penalties and no first round picks. They just couldn't do anything. So I was kind of like, cool, go get your chip, KG. I felt, I would love for him to be a Wolf forever, but yeah, Cat. I feel it was different for Cat because he was the one that never complained, right? And
except when he's on the floor.
He never complained about being here, and he just trusted the process and totally cool with playing backup to this 21-year-old, 22-year-old kid. Once he came in and realized, oh shit, this guy's better than me, has more potential than me. That certainly, right?
No,
and just
people love to pick on him.
Yeah, I mean, Cat just. I mean, some of it was self-induced, but he got a lot of shit just for the way he acts and behaves. But he generally seemed like a really good dude, and he's I think just kind of a quirky individual. So and choking. I mean, I think the choking at key points was in the playoffs or a couple times didn't help. So I think
it is pretty obvious. All the national media people talking up Cat now that he's going to the Knicks. They clearly didn't really watch him when he was playing for the Wolves. So every highlight package and all they ever talked about is how great of a 3-point shooter he is. But nobody ever mentioned that if he puts the ball on the floor, he's going to turn it over or commit an offensive foul. You do not want him putting the ball. He cannot move with the ball. He cannot create his own shot. And that's great. He can hit 3-pointers, but lots of guys can do that.
He kind of can. He's not good with. I mean, he's inefficient because of I think I saw today he led the league with like a 10% turnover rate on drives.
I'm not. From what I recall, it was 50-50. He was going to turn it over or he's going to commit an offensive foul. He just can't. He just hooks the guy with his left arm every time, and the officials call him on it twice a game, and he just doesn't learn.
And it's the runaway freight train.
And he just built up a reputation to where, even if it's something somebody like Embiid gets away with, he wouldn't because he had the reputation of So there's a lot of times I'm like that's not a foul you call an Embiid, but he's got the reputation of being a complainer and a guy that does that shit. So he gets called for that's kind of on him for building up his own reputation to be a guy that can't control himself and is just a kamikaze driver to the basket.
Do you think that continues in New York? Did he still? Will get those calls, or those calls will be happening on him, or does he get a reprieve from some of that stuff because he's in the market?
It's gonna be super interesting to see how much he changes about how he plays. Does he drive as much? Does he drive more?
It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how he plays defense now that he's back with Thibodeau. If he's got to work harder on that end, or if they have a plan for that.
He was better last year. He was phenomenal in the Denver series and in the Phoenix series offensively. He was, of course, he's 29, right? That's part of it too. It's we're not, in theory, he should be in his prime, and we know what this is where he's at. I don't see Cat being better this year than any previous year. Because how many guys get better in their year 30 season? I don't see that happening.
But he is this generation's Patrick Ewing, though. Even from the waist down, he looks and moves like Patrick Ewing. So, I mean, it's kind of destiny that he goes to the Knicks. And Ewing, he kind of got better in his third when he was around 30. He kind of made that leap with just having a better team. So, just, I mean, he could just be the next Ewing, and it'll click now and he'll just get better.
If he comes out with those huge padded knee pads, then we'll know.
Yeah. Yep.
He's been wearing those. His like I say, from the waist down, there are times you look at him that could be Patrick Ewing standing there. I could be watching the highlights from the 80s.
Start slamming tomahawk dunks.
Oh, badass. Bring those back.
Use a box top fade.
That would be a sweet homage right there. Oh,
Yeah. I was hoping that my I'd like the partial season ticket package. I was hoping I had the Knicks game, but I did not. I checked immediately, so I'm like, that'd be a fun one to go to.
Wow.
So if
you
anybody
want
wants
to resell to all Knicks fans,
right? Yeah, the tickets jacked went sky high, I think, for that game afterwards.
oh, I'm sure.
But no, I don't know. Overall, I mean, I think DiVincenzo's probably going to be more important. I think Randall 50-50 odds he makes it through the season, or we trade him. Personally, I think it just how he fits.
Is he hurt right now too?
I don't know.
I think he had shoulder surgery during the off season, but they expect him to play right away.
Hopefully not on a shooting shoulder.
They're not that different, even though he looks a lot. I mean, just he looks older than Cat.
Yeah, I mean, different style. I mean,
oh yeah, totally different
everything. Yeah, it'll be interesting having a guy that can more create his own shot, but like the way he slows down the ball and all the dribbling he does to set up a shot. It's like that's not really Finch's style. He wants the ball to move and kind of not necessarily like Steve Kerr, but just find the guy that's open, right? Like take the least resistance to a shot, and that's not how Randall plays from everything I've heard. So that'll be an interesting.
You have him down in New Orleans, the Pelicans. He has coached him some.
Oh yeah, Finch when he was there. Yeah. I mean, he's a good player, like I said. I mean, it'll just be interesting. Not an outside shooter at all.
He's a 3-time All-Star, right? Something like
that. Yeah.
Yeah. He will jack the ball, but he does not make them as much as Cat does.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a 33% 3-point shooter. Like, not a guy you want shooting 8. Where Cat, it's like shoot 9 or 10, dude. Like, it's cool. We're okay with that.
Any other Wolves preview before the season start? Anything else you're looking forward to?
I mean, I just think it's going to be tough this year just because the West is so stacked. They're going to have tough games every night. I think they'll be okay, but if they might even fall out of the top 5 in the West when the final standings are done, yeah, who knows? I think the healthiest teams are going to win the West this year. It's just going to be a massacre.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Ja Morant missed almost all of last year, right? Like,
right.
Are they going to be good again? I don't know.
And Zion looked skinny a few weeks ago. So the Pelicans will be better.
There you go.
And they're kind of a dangerous team too, right? Like if they're healthy, they're a good team. I was surprised that they got stomped a bit by OKC, right? I think they played OKC. But,
yep.
But yeah, I mean,
it will be fun.
They get us.
It will be fun watching the Lakers and the Clippers miss the playoffs. That'll be the best.
Ooh.
I mean, honest to God, they might be 2 of the bottom 4 teams, right? And it's funny, like seeing last year.
Payroll.
No, not in payroll. No. And Portland, Portland sucks. But every other team, whether it's Sacramento or the Golden State, I mean, all these other teams are probably better than those teams. So it's going to be a battle. I wouldn't put money on anybody to be in the top 4, probably except for OKC. This is going to be.
I saw that they're talking about expansion again. Do you hope that happens, and do you hope that they're forced to put the Wolves in the East somehow?
I mean,
they've been talking about it for so long.
I know.
It's going to be Las Vegas and Seattle. I mean, that's what everyone thinks, unless I think they're hoping like Nashville or someone will get into the bidding just to drive up the price. And of course, they keep having to mention Mexico City, even though that'll never happen. But yeah, if it's Vegas and Seattle, then it absolutely makes sense to move the Wolves to the East. Although I heard somebody last week say they would be moving Memphis to the East because Memphis is actually on the other side of the Mississippi, but Minneapolis isn't. But that person obviously didn't look at a map of where the teams are, though.
Yeah, the other teams around them.
Yeah, because it would be Bucks, Chicago, and what was the other team?
Detroit and Indiana would be the closest.
Yeah, depends if they did like 4-team or what the size of the conference, right? If they go to 32, then that probably, I don't know, what would you do?
You could do 4 8 divisions or 8 4-team divisions, which would get messy.
Or do they go crazy eliminate divisions and just take the top 12 teams?
They could do that too. I think, though, I mean, getting back to the earlier question, I think that it seems like the only reason it's being delayed is because LeBron wants to be the owner of the Vegas team, but LeBron won't retire. So my hunch is LeBron's going to retire after this year because he got to play with his kid, and then like next summer we'll be approving the bid from Vegas for whatever bid LeBron is involved with.
And do they name the team the Vegas LeBrons then?
Oh, boy.
Maybe
Vegas Kings. There you go. Goes with the Golden Knights. I'm just saying it fits.
The Vegas
what the NBA want to do with it?
What did you just?
Yeah, just the Kings, the Vegas Kings, right? And,
There's already a Kings, though. We can't have two teams. It's not soccer. You can't have two teams with the same name.
Yeah, but Sacramento doesn't need it. That doesn't make any sense why they have the Kings. I'm just
LeBron
saying.
is going to pay for the naming rights. You guys aren't the Kings anymore.
Sacramento Vineyards or some shit like that. LeBron's still a top 10 dude in the league when he's healthy. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see when he retires. But I mean, I'm going to predict if we're going to do it early, and maybe we do another one of these. Timberwolves will be top 4 seed, barring catastrophic injury concerns.
Yeah, I think 4th or 5th sounds about right for them.
You don't think that the West has really figured him out this year versus last year? They really underestimated him.
I think there's just so much talent, honestly.
And also, like with the Cat trade, they're going to be playing a completely different style next year on offense. So even if teams did figure them out, well, you got to start over now.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the big reason they made the trade was Connolly built the old team to beat Denver, but now Denver, we've moved past them. Now we have to beat OKC. You got to rebuild the team to, be able to beat OKC.
More body.
Yep, depth, a little more defense, maybe.
Gotcha. Deep playoff run, if you're predicting.
Hope so.
50-50 to get to the Western Conference Finals.
Which side do you put your money on?
Ask me a month after the season starts.
That's not how betting works.
But, oh, man, I don't know. The West is just, if you put them in the East, I'd give them way better odds. But I don't know.
They'll be playing Boston.
Yeah, but hopefully they'd be playing Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to say probably not, but I still think it's 50-50. I'd just probably take the 50 that's them not making it because too much unknown with how the team will perform. That being said, they can beat anybody. There'll be a team that can beat anybody any given, legitimately.
Yeah, it should be a fun team to watch. It'll be different than last year for sure.
Yeah.
And it'll be
speaking of fun teams to watch, there's a transition.
Slaps. Let's talk about it. No, I'm just kidding. Let's not talk about it ever again.
If Dennis Green was still around, we finished season 1 undefeated, right? Well, it was always Denny's 4 seasons, right?
4 quarters of this, yeah, undefeated. Well, we're also undefeated in the preseason, so there's a chance we might go super undefeated.
The first 21-0 champions.
Yeah,
there you jinxed it. You shouldn't have brought it up. You jinxed it.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we already won this season by not being by default the worst team in the NFC. I mean, there's literally
they could lose. They could lose every game out from here and get down to the bottom.
But they won't.
There's the Bears. What are you talking about, man?
Right.
And the Panthers still exist.
The Panthers still exist. But the Red Rocket
with Andy Dalton
win some games.
That's right. Red Rocket did at what age of 37 or some crap like that.
if they don't trade him to Miami in the next week or two.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a pretty surprising, I don't know, start of the season, obviously.
Yeah.
How surprised are you? Dumbfounded? Flabbergasted? Slobber-knockered? What level of...
I'm strongly flabbergasted.
I'm just amazed that they get out to leads. They get out to leads and they keep them. Last week was just wretchedly awful. And I know that they had the game in hand, but to really lose a 4-score lead is just really, I don't know. I think I need to accept that that's the modern day NFL. And that's kind of just look at the way the NBA is played too. It seems like a team that's down by 25 points is not out of a game anymore in the NBA. It feels like, and is that, again, analytics, is that just, again, teams just really leaning into stuff that allows them to come back like that and capitalize on one mistake and just turn the tides and absolutely move the momentum another way. I guess that's pro sports as it is. People don't give up like they did 20 years ago, I feel.
Was that the Indy game last year where we just came out of nowhere, or 2 years ago?
22.
Yeah. 33-3. Was that what it was?
Yes, it was.
All right. Yeah, the game was a little nerve-wracking this past weekend.
The Bills came too, that we came back. That was pretty over. Or felt like it was.
That was a slugfest, right? It's like, we're down a little bit. We throw 2 haymakers, they throw a haymaker. Just that win percentage, right? It was literally like a cardiac monitor, like a EKG monitor for somebody going through a stroke. It was just nuts. The win percentage flips back and forth.
Yeah,
the 4th and 18, the Jefferson 4th and 18. That's that was the play of the year, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Between that and honestly, almost the fumble recovery too, right? Those were both like, what are the odds? All they had to do was I think literally he had a place where he could kneel, I think.
Yes.
Right? I mean, he was out enough where he could kneel, and they couldn't execute that, But yeah, it's a strange sport. I don't know the last time I was this surprised by the way it started was 2022, right? Like coming out of the gate and like, my God, are we this good? We weren't that good.
No.
We were really lucky.
Well, the defense wasn't that good.
Yeah.
The offense was good.
The offense is decent, yeah. But yeah,
they got smashed by Philadelphia in that second game in 22, and that just didn't seem to phase them. Though.
And smashed by Dallas, right? Like they got destroyed. They had 3 losses by 100 points total or some crap like that in those 3 losses. Or in 3 of their losses, I should say. Like it was just
the Packers game.
It was just devastation. It was like you never were warm. It was never warm fuzzies any single game, right? All 13 wins were by a single score, I think, right? So it's just a lot of
for a long time.
Yeah, this season it just seems like there's more to what behind the success.
Yeah.
Offensive and defensively, right? Like leading the league in sacks, at least I think we were. The turnovers that we're forcing, right? That were is what was it? Does look in. We have
we're +6 on sacks and we're +3 in turnovers.
Yeah. I mean that's not bad. I'll take it.
We've outscored our opponents. Well, touchdown wise, we're 2-1 on touchdowns through 4 games.
Yeah,
and the not so small part too. Like we're even making field goals, right? Like we haven't
with a rookie.
Right? Like this is just weird, but it seems moderately sustainable as long as Darnold doesn't implode. And so far, I mean, some of the passes he's had have been just gorgeous. And then he'll have 2 plays a game, almost like Cousins, where you're like, as long as we don't lose the ball in those 2 plays, just 2 boneheaded plays, we're okay. Because what was the game? Not last week, but the week before. He just turned around and threw the ball. It's like, what the F are you doing? Just launched it. And the guy's like, what are you? Running up again with the running back was like, why are you throwing me this ball? Like, what the hell?
I feel like he got just completely screwed on his turnovers on Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean the fumble, he got just crushed from his backside.
Yep.
The interception that was just, come on.
Yeah, but that's one of those things. Like you had an underneath guy that was open, right? Again, easy for Monday morning quarterback here, the guy that sits on his couch, to be like, why didn't you throw to the underneath guy? But he's also paid to see the safety net guy underneath and hit him versus trying to thread it through 2 defenders to a running back, right? Because that was a pass to Jones.
Yeah.
But maybe don't throw the wheel route into 2 defenders. But then the throw he put on Jefferson's back shoulder, that throw was incredible. It was
and how
perfect.
confident he looks when he's throwing downfield.
Yeah.
He looks way more confident than Kirk.
Yeah, that drive we needed, where they were, just a score away, and we needed to get points on the board, and the where we got the field goal. But he had 6 passes. That's O'Connell being like, you got this, dude, and he did, right? Like he did what he had to do, move the ball, hit different receivers. Like it's awesome.
He can throw on the move.
On the scrambles, right? He doesn't have a lot of rushing yards, but the one, I think that where he got the first down in the first half, and the guy almost had him right in the secondary and in the backfield. And I mean, he was about 2 inches, but he burst out of there and extended the drive. And I think that was when they scored on, right? Like it was something Kirk wouldn't have done.
No.
Kirk probably would have just been sacked and called it a day, and people would have been, makes sense. He got tackled, in the backfield, and Darnold, had the sense enough to say, F it, I'm getting out of here because it's getting hot in the kitchen.
Especially not Kirk this year with a bad wheel, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that guy's a statue right now. So
they're 45% on 3rd down conversions.
I
don't know where that stacks in the league, but I mean, when you're near 50%, that's like batting 400 in baseball. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they've been able to run, but they're not abusing it. With a 29-year-old running back, unless you're Derrick Henry, you're not like, all right, carry it 30 times a game. Like everything seems sustainable, except for him probably being on pace for 40 whatever touchdowns, 45, 46 touchdowns.
They were really trying to get Jones a touchdown in that game, though. Like they were force feeding him the ball there at the end.
It is funny. We only have 2 rushing touchdowns because what were we talking about? How many did we have last year? Was it
Seven.
really? Seven.
Seven.
We're really on about the same
Seven.
page. And I think we said, oh, we need to get one a game, right? And we're sitting on pace for 8 or 9.
Yeah, and it's like what 3 of them were by Pasternak.
Yeah.
So
So Darnold,
But yeah.
at least 2. The way Pete stock it.
Hey, he doesn't scramble much, but he's got enough to get out of trouble here and there. I'll take it. They've got to stop calling sweeps, though. Maybe mix it up. Try to toss sweeps to your smallest receiver.
I just can't believe though how you've put the pieces together on defense that we know that the defense got better in 23 than 22. That was obvious. And to move out who we moved out and pull in who we pulled in,
And to be better.
it's incredible. And I'm blown away by that. That's what I'm most surprised by.
I would almost say
the
defense is maybe a little bit has more potential to come back to earth, I think, than the offense.
Yeah, I wonder how sustainable opportunity is sometimes. But
Love gouged the shit out of us in the second half, right? And it's there, but he's also,
he's a good quarterback.
He's a very good quarterback, and Purdy wasn't able to do it. He didn't gouge us, and Stroud wasn't able to do it with weapons. But I think against the right quarterback, that's, our defense is a little bit more susceptible because he had protection. I mean, honestly, that was the big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay's offensive line is killing it this year. And if you're rushing 4 and you're not getting there, eventually, especially when you're, playing the funked up kind of coverage that the Vikes play, guys are going to find pockets and sit in them. And Lord knows Love found a lot of pockets on Sunday. But
so the second half of the Green Bay game was probably the best schemed defensive showing that they've seen thus far. Or I'm sorry, that the defense has seen against an offense so far this year. Would you say?
Well, I think they didn't even score until the fourth quarter. I thought they shut out Green Bay in the third quarter also, and then it was the fourth when they were putting up all those numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were 7 in the first half because of fucking Naylor trying to catch a ball in the sun. But
I suspect part of Green Bay's performance was also the Vikings changing up their scheme in that fourth quarter, also just having such a big lead and relaxing a little bit, wanting to keep the clock running. So, I mean, and even like that collapsing to Green Bay, it's almost like, this team had to, get spanked eventually and learn their lesson. Well, the Vikings got spanked, but they still won the game. So that's great. Hopefully they'll be able to take that away now and won't be cocky going into the next game.
That's something new. Yeah. Not pay for it too much, which is nice.
And again, I mean, I think against the average or below average quarterbacks, I think the defense is sustainable 100%, right? The guys that are not, as smart and as, what's the word I'm looking for? Probably as calm in the pocket.
Sure.
Right? And can wait to, even though they might take a lick, and can wait for the plays to develop and guys to hit the open spots. But no, I mean, I don't know that we should be ranked like, you see like the power rankings and multiple ones in the Vikings 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, I don't think we're there yet.
No.
But every win's been legit, which I'm all for.
So speaking of quarterbacks coming up, do you want to go through the next 5-6 games? So it's the Jets. So it's Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yep.
In London. Detroit, it's, Michael Schwartz playing as Jared Goff. Here in Minneapolis.
It is a home game. We are not in the Lions' den.
Yeah.
They're not the Motor City Kitties. Hardly.
They're not going to be in the Honolulu Blue.
Yeah. And again, what do you learn from the Green Bay game going into, again, another precise throwing game, a team with a precise throwing game the way that the Lions play, it balanced with a better running game, arguably.
100%.
Say they're better running game than the Packers.
They use running to set up the pass now, right? Versus the inverse. They love running the ball, and great offensive line, right? Too. They might have the best offensive line in the league.
Well, technically, our next away game is in LA with Matt Stafford, and then
if he's still upright 3 weeks from now,
if he's still alive.
And who will he be throwing to? Is Puka back? Is Cup back?
Is Tyler Higbee back? Everybody needs tight ends and fantasy guys. We got to get guys back.
Oh, God.
Dear Lord.
The worst season for fantasy tight end production ever.
Oh, dude, it's disgusting this year. Then we get the Colts at home. Anthony Richardson, right?
well, he's out already now. I guess I don't know if he'll be back by then.
Yeah, I don't know if he's week to week or whatever.
I think
That
it's
might be okay.
With a hip.
Yeah.
Oh, the hip.
And then we get the then we have a 3-game road stand. We go to Jacksonville, Tennessee, and Chicago.
I'll take Tennessee and Jacksonville as road games any day. The way they're playing,
I'll
those
take
teams will be there now. But
all 3 of those quarterbacks. Those 3 quarterbacks don't scare me right now the way they're playing. So
what should we start at the top? Jets, win or loss?
oh no, we're not doing this, are we?
Let's do it. Let's run
This
it
is
through.
how we get in trouble.
What's your
I
guts?
mean, the Vikings usually play pretty well in Europe, and I think the Jets are pretty close to imploding.
Yeah.
If the Vikings win big, the Jets could fire their coach on the way back, so that would be fun to watch. I think the Vikings will probably win, but I think it'll be close.
They just leave them in London, just like you stay here.
It's never good.
Drop
when-
off in Iceland on the way back.
Just parachute out in Iceland.
It's never
Yeah.
good when your coach is calling out your QB is calling out the head coach, and then the head coach has to publicly apologize. That's like, which one of you is the coach again?
does Rodgers think he's Michael Jordan or something? I mean,
I don't know.
that's
He probably did at one point. He probably still got some sort of delusion going on. But
All right. So anybody think it's not a win? I'm not saying we're going to stomp them because you never know with the overseas games, right? Shit gets weird.
yeah,
I agree with that, Gur. It just London seems to work for us.
we are the London Vikings. Come on now.
All right. So Detroit at home.
I think
Yeah.
Detroit will probably be their toughest game of the year. They'll need some fluky special teams or something weird to happen, I think, to win that one.
And
Yeah.
we don't play them again until the last game of the season.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the road.
Yeah.
At least it's a home game.
You're coming off the bye.
Off the bye, right? Like, man,
Hawkinson will be back.
If this was a Dennis Green team, we'd be stomping these guys coming off the bye.
and
That's going to be one of the closer games for sure.
Lions will be coming off playing the Cowboys too, which could, Cowboys, you never know what you're going to get.
And they're mad at the Cowboys.
Usually syphilis.
Usually.
So we'll go for a tie. We'll go for a push on that game.
Ooh,
We're
okay.
still haven't lost.
It's home.
Still undefeated.
That's the
Yeah, let's
sell-
give a great big asterisk to a 16-0-1 perfect season, Super Bowl championship, and just listen to Mercury Morris roll over in his grave when we say we had a perfect season.
I think we established that would be 19-0, right?
Well, 16-0-1 regular season, yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
home. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I would say in the next, if we just go up like 4 or 5 games, we can always do a mid-season review.
Can we say too that if the defense is healthy and there's no one out,
Oh yeah.
and Hawkinson's back, I think they have a chance to beat him if it's here.
Yeah, I think we're favored if barring it massive injury concerns, but it's going to be like by 1.5 right, or something small.
We do have a buy in between there too. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think coming off the bye helps though a ton. Los Angeles, sweet God, if we lose that game, but
That is a Jekyll and Hyde team.
mhm,
But yeah, it depends on who they have back, who's still upright.
yeah,
If Stafford's retired at that point.
and it's coming. It's a short week too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
Yeah, we
Thursday
two-
night game. Boo.
Ooh, yeah. That's probably not a win.
Are we 2-0 in that building though? We beat the Chargers. I know that. I thought we beat the Rams once in that building.
Is this their 3rd year in it?
I think so. We're going to check the tape on that one.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I feel like that stadium is just not that threatening. I mean, I don't think that it's. They say that since out of the gate, the visiting team shows up very, very well in that stadium. Always, it's the ultimate Airbnb stadium.
LA fans. That's why.
Right.
All right, so we're thinking probably a win.
Yes.
Indy at home,
Indy at home.
God, I hope so.
right? Like, sweet Jesus, if we lose to Flacco or to Richardson,
I mean, Richardson could go nuts and, run for 150 and, put up 40 points on us, but what are the odds that he stays healthy while doing that? And I don't think the rest of the team's good enough either, except for maybe Taylor. I think they should be able to beat the Colts at home.
and then let's stop at Jacksonville, right? Get us to the halfway point of the season, week 10.
No, you don't want us all on record with a 14-1 start?
Too much changes, man. Too much changes.
After, picking them to go 6 and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that-
Because, I mean, honestly, I joke, but honestly, their last 3 games might be their 3 toughest games left. They could be 12-1 going into those last 3 games.
Yeah,
Or 13-1.
It's weird outside of the 2 Detroit games in Green Bay.
Green Bay rematch in Seattle too, right before that.
Yeah, we went from being underdogs literally in every game to before the season started, right, without a material change to the roster, to being a team that favored
functional quarterback, but sure.
Yeah, but that was after they got Darnold, right? Like you didn't know, and they were favored literally. No gains. It's just nuts what O'Connell's done. Of course, I also read too that he has like a 780 win percentage. What is he? I forget what the number was. He was like 21-8 when his starting quarterback was healthy, like for the season. So take out Pasternak, right? He was like 21-8, which is like 3rd all time behind like Lombardi and somebody else.
Take out 3 quarterbacks from last season.
But yeah, that or when Cousins missed a game or 2 like 2 seasons ago, right? I think he missed a game or 2. So it's pretty incredible what he's done so far. So, and I don't think anybody would say Minnesota has like a top 5 roster in the NFL.
No,
I don't think.
Well, maybe at receiver, tight end combo. The skills positions, they got 2 good tackles. I would say on defense, though, I don't know if they have any real all-pro level defensive players.
No, but that's a big thing, especially when you consider we might have a top 5 defense. Pretty incredible to do that without your an all-pro guy on the roster there, and even
Flores is the Wade Phillips of this generation. He just has to be smart enough to stop pursuing head coaching jobs and just stay here for the next 20 years.
Isn't there already a Wade Phillips Jr. though? Shouldn't he be the Wade Phillips of this generation?
I think Flores has earned this. That Wade Phillips Jr. was born with it. Nepo baby.
It was the Nepo Wade Phillips.
3rd generation.
Does this podcast have a resident Nepo baby? Is that Pete technically?
Come on, Nepo baby.
How are you not out of this group?
Fair.
After the Bears on the road, 6 games after that, it's 3-3, 3 home, 3 away. 2 birds at home, Cardinals, then the Falcons, and the Bears again. Seahawks,
another bird.
That's 3 out of 4 birds. And you land with the Packers and the Lions on to finish it out. Fucking zingers to finish the season out.
Yeah.
Those games might matter, guys. That's what's honestly crazy. I never would have thought that those games would matter.
Is anyone willing to put some money down that they'll be 13-1 going into those last 3 or better?
Or better.
I wouldn't put it at 13-1.
I'll put money on it not going that well.
Yeah.
I've been a Vikings fan almost going on 50 years of my life.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it just hurt so much more if they had the great season and then just lost in the first round of the playoffs to like Detroit or Green Bay again? If you really want to turn that knife, isn't that really how you want the season to go?
Mm-hmm.
15-2,
number 1 seed, Super Bowl favorite, losing in the first playoff game.
There's not enough parking spots in Post Road for all of us.
It's the decision. Do you go deep into the playoffs and lose, or right away and lose?
I think I want to get deep. I want the guys to get that taste like the Wolves did this year.
But you don't want 17, right? I could stomach 09 better than I could stomach 17 in some ways because Favre made a dumb throw and
sure.
versus getting scorched by the Eagles at Pete's house. Thanks for hosting that one. Thank
you. So nice.
That team was so talented, except for quarterback.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. At least it's done with. Like your emotions aren't hanging in a thread for 3+ hours. Like my emotions were out the door within 20 minutes, right? Like it's over.
Yeah, that Saints game with Favre, we honestly thought they were going to win with like 2 minutes left in the game. We honestly thought we're going to the Super Bowl. So it hurt that much worse than the Philly game where you knew going in there's a pretty good chance they were going to lose, and they
41 donut,
right?
41 donut. It's like, man, just rip that Band-Aid off. Just tell me early. Versus giving me hope for 58 minutes of the game.
The city of Rockville is never the same,
right?
No, tainted.
So I don't know. I'll take it. If we end up with like even 11, 12 wins and make the playoffs, like that's a huge boon to to the team, to the coaching staff.
I mean, just
Considering
looking
where
at their
you thought they were
schedule,
going to be.
yeah, and if Darnold stays healthy, just looking at their schedule, I don't see how they do less than 12.
No,
Just based on what's happened so far.
I mean, realistically, they have to go 50-50 essentially, right, for that. And that's with the who we're playing. And then I was looking at Green Bay. Green Bay still has to play the Texans. They have the Lions twice as well. They still have the Niners. They still have the Seahawks too. They have the Saints, who have some good games, right? Like they played the Eagles, who weren't great, and they lost. Like the Eagles are not that great this year right now, but they barely beat the Colts, beat up on the Titans. It's like, okay, good defense, but still Will Levis. So
we're saying there's a really good chance that there's going to be 2 teams out of the Central.
Honestly, I thought somebody
we'll
saying
make
all 3 teams
2 wildcard teams.
Well, since Green Bay hasn't really, I mean, other than our game, they keep winning, even though their guy was out. Like, yeah, I thought they were going to tank after that, but they
Green
figured
Bay
out.
looks like they're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
For themselves.
And Goff looked like good Goff again the last couple of weeks. So
yeah, here's who the Lions. The Lions still have to play at Dallas. They have to play Green Bay twice. They have Texans on the road. They have the Bills at home. They play on the road at the 49ers.
The NFC Championship rematch. That's right.
Like, this is pretty good for us right now.
When's that San Fran game against Detroit?
Week 17.
wow.
So when we play the Packers,
Yeah,
Packers game here, they go out to San Fran.
Yeah.
Before
like,
playing us.
schedule wise, we definitely have the easiest road of the 3. But I think there's a really good chance we have 2 wildcard teams up the north.
Yeah, there's a good chance for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could the Bears do something? Even now, do we think that they're
No.
Maybe next year with a new coach.
Are they a 500 team
They're technically by record.
right now? But I mean, finish
Will
it
they
up.
continue to be a 500 team?
They beat the Titans without an offensive touchdown.
Awesome.
They lost to the Colts. They lost to the Texans. They eked out a win against the Rams. I mean, they got a couple, cupcakes, but they have to play the Commanders, right? Like their easy AFC East or NFC East game is the Commanders, who are actually good.
Yeah, goodish.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think they're clearly 4. So it'll be a battle for the top with the other 3.
So not glazing over.
Williams
Not glazing
against
over.
Daniels. That will be fun.
Yeah.
Also,
advantage.
is Darnold so far in comparison to other previous Vikings quarterbacks. Kind of is this Randall level, like coming out of nowhere after being bad for a long time, coming out of retirement?
Randall was proven though when he came here, and it looked like he
I know,
was
but he was
outside of
bad
his
toward
career.
the end of his time there.
Randall was retired, right?
That's what I'm saying. That was pretty surprising. I mean, we're dumb kids. We were just happy he was slanging the ball. But I think when Bradford started decently and they got injured, and then What's-His-Nuts started playing decently, so with the 2019 season.
Sammy Bradford started 4-0.
Yeah.
Well, for that he'd been healthy, he was incredible, right? Those first couple games.
Yeah, that was great. Like, I was shocked that he had anything left in the tank after getting destroyed in St. Louis or wherever the hell the Rams were at that point. But
yeah, I do believe it just shows the importance of being put in a good environment, which is all the more reason that you wonder if the Bears starting Williams, is that really the right thing? Give him a year or 2. Let him sit on the bench and learn versus take a team that's struggled for how many years at the position? Never had a good quarterback.
yeah.
And
I
the
guess I
fields proved them even more wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
Can that last? Can that last? I don't know.
Yeah, it's
It looks like a functional quarterback out of Chicago. Like, he could have a 10-year career backing up, starting here and there.
But the pedigree was to be
No, I know.
man, right?
To be elite.
Yeah,
But so was Darnold. He was the 3rd pick.
and he went.
So was,
look where he
so was
went.
Johnny Football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny Football is overdrafted, but
Just a touch.
just a bit. But yeah, I don't know. I think if he can, it'd be curious to see if he holds it up. But if you have a guy that comes out with a lot of talent and you stick him in a shit situation, that can crush the development, right?
Yeah.
And Carolina was obviously a shit place. The Jets were historically a shit place for quarterbacks as well.
Jacksonville is currently killing Trevor Lawrence's soul.
Yeah. And he was again not like a generational guy, but the class, the top of that class, clearly, right?
Yeah, people were tanking for Trevor. I mean, like it was a
That was a thing.
that was a real thing that was happening.
And look at Fields. Like shit, it's early, but fuck, Fields goes to Pittsburgh, which is maybe not a place to groom great quarterbacks, but a place that's quarterback friendly for whatever reason, right? And he's doing well.
Even though Pittsburgh feels like Chicago of the AFC for
A little
quarterbacks.
bit.
Oh yeah, it's all defense.
But Roethlisberger had a pretty
Right. There's a legacy.
Yeah, but just I mean, but even the stability of the coaching staff and like an offensive system, right? Like all that shit matters. I would have to imagine. So
So it hasn't.
and knowing like here that we had low expectations, right? Like Darnold wasn't brought in to bring us to the promised land. He was brought in to just see what he can do and be a bridge to the next guy.
And maybe get the next guy halfway through the season. Yeah.
It's kind of like if you fail, it's okay, dude. Like you're not the answer, so there's no pressure to be the answer, which is maybe part of why he is playing well. I don't know.
Were there any seasons where you kind of the reverse, where you're like totally shocked at like how bad that season went? Like example is the Favre second season where it just freaking derailed after such a.
I think that's probably the exact season that comes to mind.
Yeah, probably
2010,
Yeah.
2010, but 2003. I mean, I know that nobody expected them to be good in 03, but to start out 6-0 and you finish 9-7, I want to say, and then the Nate Poole game happened. I mean, that was the most gut wrenching, I feel, regular season in the modern era. That we watched every game, kind of, set of seasons. That was just awful in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah. At least the other gut wrenching ones were like on the doorstep of the playoffs or first round of the playoffs and missing kicks and shit. Yeah. Why do we always gotta go to a dark place, Peter?
You brought it up. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry. It was me. It was definitely me.
But I don't know. I like the current regime a lot. I have a lot of faith in O'Connell as a coach.
How many years do you extend him for?
7.
A lot lifetime. I'm ready to lifetime. If you let him build the stability, I think it's there. I still think we got to draft better, right?
Sure.
Literally the only guy that's done much from this last draft is our fucking kicker, which is all the more crazy that we're doing as well we are. It's not like we have this first round pick that's coming out killing it. Turner's been dinged up, so he hasn't done anything. Hopefully he's back this weekend.
And Addison was the only standout from last year, right? I mean,
I don't even know who else would it be.
Well, Ivan Pace was a rookie, but he wasn't even drafted.
I'm not even drafted.
Right.
Yeah.
But like Patrick Jones has 5 or 6 sacks, and he was 2-3 years ago. There's guys that are stepping up that I would have expected to do anything at this point after 2-3 seasons.
Yeah.
Bynum.
What
What he wants to.
What's the third string quarterback or wide receiver? What's his name? The guy who dropped
Taylor?
Powell?
Naylor and Powell look decent, but Powell we didn't draft.
Naylor's from 2022.
Yeah. But he looked functional.
So he was the best of 2022.
Well, I think Patrick Jones was 2022 as well.
Oh, really? I thought he
Patrick
was.
Jones was 2021.
Even further back.
Ingram 2022.
Oh, Eddie. Yeah.
I mean, when's your boy getting back? He can take his spot. Get off the IR.
Oh, Reisner?
Yeah.
Is he back soon, hopefully?
Yeah. I think he had to stay out for 4 games. Let's hope he's.
Yeah, I mean, these draft classes are pretty gross. And then you look at like the Eagles and like the guys they're getting, at least with their first and second round picks. It's like, well, son of a bitch. Feels like we could do better.
Yep.
Yeah, especially when the Eagles don't pick before 25 every year.
Yeah, or
It's like-
last year, yeah, they got the
they traded.
Yeah, they got at the 9th pick, got like the best defensive player in the draft. It's like, really? Yeah.
Who is your offensive and defensive MVP so far this season?
Cool. Offense is JJ.
Not Sam?
I gotta go Sam, I think.
I think
I'm going to give it to Darnold and Van Ginkel just to see what that does to the locker room.
I'm going to do Darnold and Van Ginkel / Barnard.
Oh man.
I'm going to go Jefferson and Fat Guy Phillips.
Fat
To the big boy.
Who got paid.
He got paid and still playing pretty decently.
Mm-hmm.
Eating all the donuts.
I do like going with Darnold too. He's hasn't collapsed our offensive attack, and somehow it's
That's what you look for in a most valuable player.
dude for a guy that hasn't had a good any decent season, and he's on pace to lead the league in touchdown passes. I think that's pretty incredible.
I'm just saying our wide receivers might be that good.
He's also spreading the love, right? Our second leading receiver, guess who it is? Yardage wise.
Second
Is it
leading.
Naylor?
It's not John Oliver.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. Those passes don't count.
He's spreading the love. That's all I'm saying.
And also, we are averaging almost 125 yards rushing per game.
Yeah. And
So-
he's been solid for backup.
You're saying a rushing attack is a worthwhile scenario?
He just can't get in the end zone.
No, why would you want to do that?
Well, because Sandy's taking care of it.
Yeah. He's spreading it around, apparently.
Pat Jones has 6 tackles for loss. Of course, he has 5 sacks, I guess, so that helps. That's pretty crazy.
You know, if this was Kirk Cousins, there's no way Peter gives him the MVP of the quarter poll.
Sure, I would. He got us 4-0, doing what he's doing.
Would we have ever named Kirko our midseason or part of season MVP? I don't feel like it's ever been a moment like that.
Last year, he would have been.
Well, Jason tried to give it to him one year, even before the season started.
Yeah.
He was the preseason MVP. Yep.
Don't poking the bear. Poking the bear.
That might have been Zimmer's last year, which was probably Cousins' worst year. I don't remember.
Yeah.
All right. I got to hop off here in a minute, but any parting thoughts on the season? Optimism level for playoff 6?
Let's not talk about the playoffs.
I put my pin in Google Maps on where I'm going to put my chair to hold my spot for the victory parade in Minneapolis. So I've got that already. I'm all set for that.
Did we decide where it was going?
I think I know. It's not official yet, but I think the parade's usually the Wednesday after the Super Bowl, or maybe the Tuesday. So I just went ahead and took that whole week off work already, just to be safe.
Hotel room downtown.
Oh, that's a good idea. I mean, I was planning on just sleeping in jail, but
Nobody goes downtown.
hotel would be more comfortable.
I was
Is the
going to
parade
say
going to be on 494?
The hotels are like $5 downtown now. No one's down there.
Put the parade in Egan, maybe, so those people in the suburbs, the beautiful people, don't have to travel far.
Yeah, you guys could just put your chairs outside on my front lawn. That'd be awesome.
So the Colts game is going to be game 8, right? And it will be just in front of the election. Did we say now?
So you're going to ask what happens if the season is canceled after that because of the rioting? Well, then we all move to Canada, and this becomes a CFL broadcast.
No Commanders games this season, so that's good.
Minnesota gets annexed by Manitoba.
Oh, that would be so nice.
Healthcare, guys. Healthcare.
Jefferson would destroy the CFL with the bigger fields and be able to get the running start at the line. He would love that.
Healthcare and poutine, guys.
We can merge the Bombers roster with the Vikings. How many Bombers would make the team? Well, they obviously didn't make it to this point, so I don't know.
Probably just the punter and Ingram's spot.
I was just thinking tentatively, do we look to that week to do another update?
Oh. That's what I was thinking. I think after game 8, right? Do it. That works. So
kind of do it every quarter or so.
Yep, that works for me.
All right.
Alrighty, guys.
Alrighty.
Appreciate it as always.
Let's go, Vikes.
Let's go.
Bye.
There's no time for last requests.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Look, Betty, I've got no time for games today. Now,
there's no time for a bench test. Heat 'em up.
Can you give me a little more of the drum? I got a little ahead there.